be here.
It's okay. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Fix This, Build That. I'm Brad. And this
I'm
is
Susan.
Susan. She's
Hi.
trying to get on
I'm trying to get to where I need
live.
to be.
That's okay. It's
I'm
all
a little
good.
lost.
But yeah, welcome
Welcome.
to another edition of Fix This, Build That live. And if we can get into it, there we go. Here we are.
Made it.
All right, we got everything's on, and yeah, I feel like
Firing on all
this
cylinders right now.
yeah, concurrent viewers. What that says 0.
That doesn't look good.
No. Hit us up if. Oh, what's up, Travis Porter? What's up, my man? Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Right.
Folks are coming in. Folks are coming in on the YouTube. Hey, all the folks are on Instagram. Feel free to come join us on YouTube. We are streaming live there in crisp 1080p with great chat and great audio, not the echoey horribleness you hear. You can go to Fix This Build That Live is the YouTube channel. So come over and join us.
To jump in there.
What?
Randomly this week, I was watching the live on Instagram.
Yeah?
I mean, it's okay, but I've seen it also on YouTube.
It's horrid.
It's so much better on YouTube. It really, really, really is.
It is. Phase Light, what is up?
Yeah.
We've got
come on over.
Andrew Strong, Courage Woodworks in the house. How's it going, guys? J.R. Keller. And who else we got over here?
I don't know.
From Australia, we got
We were just saying, "G'day, mate."
Lane, Peter Lahane, Dennis, and Danny. What is up, everybody?
All right.
BK Wood Design, we did make it to 1 million. Thank you so much
Yay.
for noticing. And Andrew says congrats on the 1 million as well. Box MFG in the house. Yeah, last
Pretty
week
exciting.
we had we kind of celebrated 1 million. After somebody told us, like, oh, you hit 1 million. I was like, oh yeah,
That's right.
We forgot.
Small thing happened this week.
But whatever.
Yeah, we're still celebrating.
We're still celebrating.
We're still chatting about it.
What's up, Elliot? We got Big Willie and Cannon.
Building with
We're
a
gonna go
beard.
with Cannon,
Ooh.
Jason, and Building with a Beard.
Yeah, from Boston.
From Boston.
There you
I
go.
love it.
He does a good-ish Boston.
Boston. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Before we jump into things, I do want to thank some new members who joined the Builders Club, either on Patreon or in YouTube under the memberships,
Right.
which we are live on both of those now. We had Mary Elizabeth Prather, Eric Drakes, Rebecca Marquez, Amanda Novak, and Phil Lamelli. Thank you so much. Love seeing the great representation of the female side there. That's fantastic.
I know.
I always love it when
Got like a lot of female.
we do. I mean, you know,
It's
traditionally, our channel is traditionally male. Obviously, for viewership, it's about 80-20. Because I'm a dude. Like, I don't know. I just feel like dudes resonate more with dudes.
Yeah.
But it's about 80-20.
Yeah.
Right? So 4-1.
But I feel like the women are like
Smarter, more attractive.
yes, for sure. No, they're like they comment a lot and make their presence known.
They do.
and
yeah.
have a lot of
so,
really great things
I
to
love
offer.
it. I love it. It's
So,
fantastic.
good.
I mean, it's
Feels like it's more than 20.
right. It does. And so seeing, the more females we can bring into it, the better. Because I think that
Right.
it's definitely not like only forgot. Like, this isn't 1950 or anything. It's not
Right.
like
not
bring
Mad Men.
it in, man. Yeah, this isn't Mad Men. I love it. I love seeing it. There's some. If I could count the number of women that are better builders than me,
Who's the
that would be a
one
really high number.
that does the turning?
Ashley Harwood.
Yeah.
Ashley,
That's crazy.
She crushes it. She's one of those.
She's ridiculous.
Yeah, I stink. Anyway,
That's a very specialized thing, but she's amazing at
But
that.
if you are interested in joining the Builders Club, which is basically the inner circle of Fix This, Build That, where we basically are sharing, I say basically, you should say basically
I was
a lot
just
of videos.
going to say, basically.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Where we share behind the scenes footage, early release to videos, as well as some different benefits like free plans and even up to credits in our videos there at the end. So if you're interested in that, you can head over to fixthisbuildthat.com/Builders Club and check it out. All right, let's see who else we have over here on the Instagram.
On the gram.
On the gram, we got Sawblade Woodworks, Heart Pine. What's up? What's up? Lots of smiley, lots of emoji
Right.
action.
Lots
over
of happy
there.
people over there.
I love it.
Yeah, we've got Mark Litvin over here wanting to know, what's your recommendation on cheaply heating a 30 by 35 foot? I said inch.
30 by 35 inch, just with your breath.
That's all you need.
By the way, before we get started, we are we are in the works with, and Clark, if you're on,
Yes.
big thumbs up to
We're
Clark.
so excited about that.
We're in the works of getting a beer sponsor
A beer
on
deal.
for the
We've
FTBT
arrived.
Live.
You hit 1 million subs and suddenly we've
get a
got
beer.
beer. From a local guy that
It is-
Brett's known forever, you know.
It is not Island Coastal Lager, but that's
It
what I'm
is
drinking
not.
today. And then Susan's drinking the new...
We thought we would check out Yingling Flight.
the new
Their
Yingling
ads
Flight.
got us.
They did. We were like held hostage
pretty good.
by their ads while we were catching up on The Walking Dead, which we were totally caught up on.
Yes. No spoilers.
Yeah,
Possible.
so it's all good. So heating a 30 by 35 space, and
and
that's
he said,
that's a good size space.
maybe wood or gas.
What was the first one? Maybe.
He was just saying,
maybe wood or gas. I was like, what's
he's
maybe wood?
throwing out his
Maybe
suggestions.
wood. Maybe wood or gas. The way you said it, like maybe wood. It was like maybe wood.
Maybe wood.
So 30 by 35. That is substantial. That is probably 50% larger than my shop because my shop is 31 by 19. So slightly, right about 50% larger than my shop. I have a split unit in here, a mini split that is fantastic. It is very cheap to heat and cool after installation.
Yeah.
The upfront cost is substantial.
It's a little bit of sticker shock there.
Was a bit of sticker
So
shock,
worth
but
it,
it was so
though.
worth it. I can't remember if it was 2,800. I think it was 2,800.
I wonder, do you know where,
3,500, 28 or 35. It's been several years, and so I've forgotten. You know, the old adage of buy once, cry once. So
buy once, cry once.
yeah,
I've never heard that.
now you
I've
have.
heard measured twice, cut once, measured.
That's the same thing. Measure twice and buy once, and then you just cry once both times. No,
Well, that makes, so you're saying
Big-
like do the big investment.
you got it.
Yeah.
So you buy
Okay.
something good one time. You cry because you spend a lot of money, and then you're happy with it.
Let's do that.
Right.
I'm ready.
Or,
Ready to cry.
Or you
Let's get
Or
everything.
you buy something that's not what you really need or
Right.
not the best
That
because
is
it's cheaper,
true.
and then every time it breaks down or because it doesn't work the way you want,
We've
then
done
you're
that.
like.
And then you're like, if I had
Then you're,
just
like,
bought
crying.
the one, I've spent more than that now. Yes.
So I'm a huge advocate for actually investing the money in a mini split. If it's at all possible, and if it's for definitely if you're woodworking for profit, I would say absolutely 100% because you're going to be more efficient. You're going to want to be out there, and it's just going to make your work way better, and it will pay itself back by your working conditions and how effective you can be while you're out there. That being said, the the alternatives, like that's a big space, so. My assumption would be you're not using the entire space all the time. So what we used to do, and what I even did in here, was space heaters.
Yeah.
And those, again, like those will run a higher electric bill. But just like the gas-fired, not the gas-fired,
I
but
forgot about
the
that.
oil.
I remember you would like try to work as close to the space heater as
So
you
I
could.
like get those oil-contained gas. I keep saying gas. Those oil heaters, where it's basically like a mobile radiator.
Right.
And I would crank that thing up, and it takes a long time to get going, but then it heats up. But if you're only using like a quarter of the shop at the time, if you're using the entire shop, you'd need probably at least four
also
of those things.
curious where
but they're
Mark-
only like $30, $30 to $50
Yeah.
a piece.
I think it would also really depend on the region of the
Yeah,
country or world
yeah.
that you live in. Like if you're in Georgia, I'm sure
Yeah,
it
you
does
can
get
get away
cold
with
there, but it
a
wouldn't be
lot
as bad
better.
as like, I don't know, Montana or something like that. Or
But if you
South
have a lot of
Dakota.
scrap wood, if you have a lot of wood, I know a lot of people do use potbelly stoves, and as long as you get those installed properly and it's all fire safe and everything, that's a great way to use your scraps and to be able to do that.
It's
If you have enough that you can go there, if you have trees on the property,
And
and you
then
can make your
really-
own firewood.
no mistakes would be made because it would just be firewood.
You're like, that wasn't a mistake. I was just making firewood.
Just making firewood. That's right.
So that would be my recommendation for that one. Who was that? I'm sorry.
yeah, that was Mark
Yeah, Mark.
Litvin.
And thank you for the congratulations.
Yeah.
Regal Street Wood Shop. So we do have an update. Thank you for asking. He says, or she says, when is MFP coming back? Well, guess what, folks? I know I've
Big
been saying it for a long time.
We need the trumpets. Dun, da, da, da.
I've been saying this for a long time that we have no plans because we didn't. And what that typically translates is to that's not going to happen. But in this case, it didn't. We didn't have plans, and then now we do.
Suddenly they did.
And we've actually already recorded the episode. So we've recorded the episode. And where is Nick Key? Nick Key, where you at? Are you done with the edit yet? Nick's usually on. Doesn't
know.
look like he's on right now.
Maybe he's editing.
Maybe he's
right now.
editing. We have edited the episode. Or excuse me, we have recorded the episode. We need to get it edited and uploaded. So it may be this Tuesday. It may not be this Tuesday. Maybe we don't
Very
launch on
exciting.
Tuesdays anymore. Who
Are you
knows?
going to tell them what it's about, or is that? Like a spoiler situation there.
Yeah, just watch your
Be on the
podcast
lookout.
feed. So if you're not already subscribed to the podcast, now's a great time to start.
Yep.
We got new episodes, and you can hit those and then go back and check out ones that you may have missed. It's the actual podcast is called Made for Profit, and it's myself and John Malecki. So episode 126 is recorded. So there you go, my man.
Marquez in Eastern Kentucky.
Eastern Kentucky. Okay,
like
yeah. So you're probably close to the temperatures that we get around here.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit higher elevation.
Let's see here. Shadow Essence is asking about the miter saw station. How's it coming? It is in the same spot that it was the last time.
It's a work in progress.
It's progressing.
We've been doing some mental work.
Progressing.
Yeah.
And so we've been planning out the next video. So the next video is going to be, in the last video, if you didn't catch it, for that miter saw station, and that was the last video. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. But I had the 6 drawers, so it was 2 3-drawer cabinets, 2 30-inch 3-drawer cabinets. I'm pointing over here because they're right there. That was the kind of the first stage. The next stage is going to be to add a 15-inch cabinet up here, a 15-inch cabinet down below, as well as 2 30-inch uppers, which will be the same exact as these behind me, and that will kind of complete the cabinetry. You know what we didn't talk about was moving the lumber racks, because that could be like a whole portion too of that video.
Yeah.
So now that I just said that,
Whoa.
we're trying to figure out how to bundle everything together and how many parts to make it and still make it where it's enough good stuff. So right now,
a whole series.
The prevailing thought is that we will have the next video will be all those cabinets being made, because I've already got a video on making these, so I probably won't outline that too much, and I'll just more outline kind of the whole process, and it's going to be a little bit more me talking to the camera and stand-up type thing, and possibly some montages and things like that. And so that's going to be the next project for that. And then we have a video that is in sponsor approval right now, which we hoped to have launched today. It did not happen, unfortunately.
No.
And so that'll be next Sunday, is going to be the flooring for the bathroom. So
yeah,
you can check that out. All right, what do we have over here? On the phase light, got a little bit of Ipe. I don't know why I said Ipe. So when you read it, just looks like Ipe. Should be throwing a cutting board project, or stay away since it's supposed to beat up saw blades. Yeah, so Ipe, whatever. Super dense wood, very strong wood. So I would not only think about the fact that it beats up saw blades, under the same token, it's going to be hard on knives as well. So, like, you want cutting boards to be hard.
It's like the bully of the wood world.
It is. It's like...
It's just beating up everything.
It's like, yo.
Do you like my analogy?
Mipe, Ipe.
I don't even know how that didn't even make sense.
It didn't. I was thinking
I like the attitude that you brought to it, though.
Yeah, I probably personally wouldn't put Ipe... Well, the other thing as well is I believe Ipe is a tropical hardwood, which is very oily. And so I don't know that you'd want to put that in cutting boards anyway. I'm not super familiar with it, but that would be a concern of mine. Let's see here. Dennis Miko, what's up? Uses a box stove. There you go. That shops in the South need to heat. Come on, Jill. Like we're not like on the equator.
She said,
this isn't.
I said
like the beach.
It gets pretty cold in Nashville in the winter,
yeah.
and she said
we'll go below zero.
Cold is relative.
It is
I
relative,
appreciate it.
But we will go below zero.
Right. Well,
on occasion.
I think we
hours.
Used to.
It has.
Warming
So I grew up here in
cold.
Nashville, and so I grew up here in like the 80s. The 80s and the 90s. And back then, we would get snow. We would get like a fair snow.
This is like Brad's equivalent of like in my day.
I
had to walk to school.
No, we would get
snow. He tells
snow.
the kids, he's like, we had snow every winter.
We would get snow every winter. We don't
get it here
and
now.
we would get, when I say we get snow, like at least an inch, like enough where you could like make a snowman, right? Like every winter. And then sometimes.
You can't make a snowman with 1 inch of snow.
Oh, you can.
Well, people around here do because they don't have an option. If there is a flake of snow outside,
people are
out there. Like you gotta. Sometimes it's the kind of snow where you gotta get out there and get to it before the sun hits it because it's all gonna melt away.
But it's not like that anymore.
No. Well, that's how it is now. But back then it was good.
It's been a while since we've had. I mean, how many snows have we had since we've been here?
I mean, we've had some good ones. But usually that's like a storm, like a big storm has come through.
Unfortunately, we do not get a lot of snow.
No,
because
we
the kids
don't.
would really like it.
But what I was sort of saying in here is for us in particular, I don't know. I think it would be uncomfortable out here in the coldest part of the winter and the hottest part of the summer. It was, because you did it for years, and at both of those times of the year, it was to the point where he couldn't work out here very easily because you're also shooting videos. And so he doesn't, it's not a great look to be like, I have on 16 layers.
And it's not, I don't think it's particularly safe either, in the sense that the more layers you have on, the less movement you're able to do. And or just, it's more bulky and you can catch things. Like, you don't ever want to.
And all that.
I like to work out here and,
You just like to
jockey shorts and
but honestly, I mean, the split unit, we thought about that for too long. We should have done it sooner, but it was a lot of money, and then you bought it, and then we had to find someone to install it, and it was a whole situation.
Where I was able to pay for it with the business, as far as knowing that it would pay back, because I would be able to spend more time out here. So.
And it totally has. It was one of those things
100%.
For the longest time when we'd walk, because our house is right there. So when we'd walk out here, I would brace myself for the cold or the hot, just because that's how it always was. And then now, we're finally, I just expect it to be climate controlled when I come out here, and it's delightful.
Let's see here.
You can sleep out here.
Definitely not Beyonce.
What?
Worked on a project today, did a damp rag test, and liked how it looked better before the damp rag. Am I out of luck?
What's a damp rag test?
Basically putting water on it so you can see what it's going to look like with the finish.
Oh.
So, no, you're not out of luck. Just don't finish it. If you want to put finish on it and protect it, you are out of luck. And even that being said, if you don't finish it, it better be an indoor project, because if it's outdoors, it would also gray. But, that's kind of unfortunately the reality of putting finish on is definitely going to change the look of it. Antique Works. Thank you so much. What part of America are we in? We're in Nashville, Peter. Let's see here. We got Chico. We got Gonzalo. I love it. We've had 12 feet of snow in Newfoundland last year. 12 feet
What?
of snow.
We need to send Cole there. Our son, our oldest, is he just would be so thrilled if we lived with cold weather year round. He loves cold weather, and he lives in Nashville, so he's out of luck.
North Carolina is the same way now. Bayou City Design, what is up? Down in Houston. North Carolina, Harrison Bennett saying this is crazy. And Perez Dreams, what's up? Mike from Amarillo, Texas.
Amarillo, Texas.
I love it. Oh, it's a cornhole set.
What?
Oh, yeah. Definitely not Beyonce. You're kind of out of luck.
It's a great name. Every time when he says it, I'm like, what do you mean definitely not Beyonce?
No, yeah. If it's a cornhole set, you're toast. I mean, you have to protect that, because that's just going to get beat to snot, and it's going to be outside. I mean, you could not and just see how it goes. And then sand when and if it so let me for a cornhole set, that's getting a lot of wear, but it's not it's like corn or whatever is in there, depending upon the bag type you use. The protection is not going to be from the beating. It's going to be from the rubbing, because I think that on unfinished wood, or unpainted, that wood is going to get beat up from all that friction, and it's basically somebody constantly rubbing their hand over there. I mean, it's going to just kind of get worn out. But that being said, I don't know. I mean, it's going to get worn out, but who cares? I mean, it's a cornhole set.
So here's my question for the cornhole situation. Is there a way that's supposed to be, did you talk about this? Should it have a slide to it or not? Because, you know what I mean?
It's all personal preference.
Yeah, but I mean, what is a regulation?
Oh, I have no idea.
I'm sure they have it out there somewhere.
I'm sure they do. But so if you're looking for a finish that's going to do the least amount of changing, the color and whatnot, I would go for a water-based polyurethane, and that's still going to absolutely, it's going to darken it, because it's going to, it's a liquid going in there, it's going to darken it, but that'll be, it won't amber. If you used an amber oil-based finish, then that would also kind of, give it a whole different color tone. Matt, what is up, my man? We got Rustic River in the house. And I saw Travis throwing in some spoilers on TWD. So if you're watching Walking Dead and you haven't watched season 16, don't look at Travis's episode. But yes, Travis, that was crazy.
Travis did. What did he say?
He was saying.
I was so ready for that.
Mike.
We were so over that storyline, but that's all I'm going to say.
How many, Mike wants to know, how many 240 volt tools do I have in my shop? And running a sub panel and deciding how big the panel to be. Good question, Mike, because I ran a sub panel and I wish I had gone bigger. I don't know how many spaces, but it's like a half one or maybe a 2/3 one. And I don't know how many it's got. But I would go, I mean, if you can, like the boxes aren't that much. If you can go for a full size, I would just do it and get one that's got like 32 or whatever.
Yeah. I remember you debating about this at the time.
I did, because I think I've only got, I think mine's probably 18 or 20. And every 220 volt is a double pole breaker. And I've got, so what I've got on there, I've got 3 or 4. I've got 4 110. I always say 110, 220. I just do. I've got 4 110s and I've got 3 220s, but I only have, and I've got another 220 that goes down here. I'm only running, so I've definitely got 3. So at any one time, I'm running 3, 2, oh, I didn't even think about that. That new planer that I'm getting, that's gonna be a problem. I have 3 220 tools, which is my joiner, my table saw, and my dust collector. So I've got a 30 amp breaker for the 5 horsepower table saw. I've got a 20 amp 220 for the dust collector and another 20 for the, what is that? It's a 2 horsepower joiner, I believe. So the main tools though, Mike, that I think that you would typically, so what I would think of, planer, joiner, bandsaw, dust collector, table saw. Those are kind of your big 5 that are going to have 240 volts. So if you're, and that saw stop, I don't know if you, I don't know which horsepower you got, but if you did get the 3 horsepower or up, then you'll definitely need that. But yes, I would, if you're going to be planning for like the future, I would say 5. And then that doesn't even take into account if you get, anything else that might be in that 220 range. Like, so I have a welder that I plug in, but I plug the welder into the table saw outlet. So you can kind of multi-purpose for stuff that you might not be using all the time, like a welder or a plasma cutter or like something like that. But CNCs, router, shapers, you could have 220 and need that as well. All right, let's jump back over to Instagram. What was the name of the finish again? We're just gonna call you Beyonce. I mean, we're shortening it up. You are Beyonce today. It was the water-based polyurethane. So just any water-based polyurethane is going to be the clearest. It actually has a little bit of a blue tint depending upon which ones you get, but anything else is going to really start changing it. Akamali, what's up? And T-Hub in the house. Taylor's always
He's over here too.
Ronaldo, have a good one, man.
Taylor's got his bases covered.
He does. He did like double fists it. It's like, yeah. All right. Where we were up here? I thought I missed a question.
Well, let's see.
What's up, Scott in the house?
Did that one. Yeah.
Which one? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was Mike.
Talked about.
Yep, that was one we just talked about. And then
we do lots of conversations about weather on here.
All the weather. Patrick Dowling checking out for the split unit. We got Steve B in Denver. What's up, Steve?
Mark.
Got a saw stop and doing some research. Yeah, you're gonna love it, man.
Yeah.
Also a helical head joiner from Laguna. That's fantastic.
I mean, if you can afford a saw stop or getting one used or anything like that, it's just, I don't know. For me, it's such peace of mind. And you've never even had a near miss or anything like that.
I've not.
You're very careful.
I'm very careful. I get a lot of comments in the videos about people are always like, because I have the dust shroud. I have the shroud on there, which is the safety shroud, but it's also the dust collection shroud. That's why I have it on there. And a lot of YouTubers take those off for several different reasons, but a lot of it is because it just looks way better. Like if you don't have the shroud on there, you can see the blade, you can see the cutting, and it's just like a way sexier shot than like having an up close tight shot I know Scott's always pressing me to do more up close and tight shots. I'm like, Scott, I got a shroud on. Well, what do you want to see? Yeah. I know you.
Okay.
That was the whole point. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't on there.
Yeah.
And so, sorry, I had to take a
we just like to,
but anyway,
like you to keep
I have
your
that
fingers.
on there.
Yeah.
And I get comments or people saying like, thank you for leaving that on there and showing that. Yeah.
Well, I've also
and I wear
seen
the dust
comments
mask a lot and always wear
right.
my safety glasses.
And sometimes people don't know and they're like, "Oh, I feel like your hand's getting close," but you've got the whole thing on and your hand is never getting close.
Oh yeah. Well, it's
but like some people just they get nervous. They see a table saw and
right.
they're just nervous.
That is funny because I can like run my hand right next to it, but it's like it's covered in the shroud. Like
right.
unless I lift that up and put my hand under there, nothing.
We'll never do that.
Is going to happen. So
yes.
Anyway.
Yep.
That one's just kind of how
Jill
we go.
has a question. I have a newbie question. I have a tabletop 12-inch DeWalt planer and a small joiner. I use the joiner first, correct?
It depends, Jill. It depends what you're trying to do. But you can use, so it's a tabletop 12-inch planer and a small joiner. Okay. So if you've got a small joiner, I don't know what that means, if that's bench top, but I'm assuming it's probably at least a 6-inch. You don't see many of the 4-inch variety anymore. But if you do have any twists or things, you can face joint first. I like to plane first. If my boards are already fairly straight, so they don't have any twist or cup or bow or whatever to them, I will plane first because when those boards go through, when you plane it, depending upon how the wood goes, you could, if you jointed first and then planed, the planer doesn't reference a flat face. The planer only references the underside. So it's not, let me rephrase that. It's not referencing the edges. So if you edge joint a board, so when you use a joiner, you typically use it like this to edge joint for the most part. When you plane, you do this. When you're going through the planer, it's not referencing these edges at all, right? So
it's just
you could, like if it's like this and you've got these square, then all of a sudden you're gonna have this weird, kind of parallelogram going on. Whereas if you plane first and then you go over to the joiner absolutely uses that because the joiner has a fence that is cast iron typically, and then a table surface that is also cast iron, and so putting that flat surface, you have to have a flat surface to joint a flat edge, and so you get that flat surface on the planer. So typically you would actually start at the planer, unless you had a board that was doing one of these numbers or a twist, and then you could get that out on the joiner, go back to the planer, and then come back to the joiner to joint a straight edge. So
yeah.
It can, it's kind of a complicated process.
Taylor
not complicated, it's just involved.
Yep. Taylor says the traditional rotation is join a face and an edge, plane the other face, then rip the last edge at the table saw.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah. Right, because then you're face joining and edging on the joiner.
Yeah.
Right, so just for full clarification of what that versus what I said, which is probably smarter because, I guess it really doesn't matter honestly, but because you're going to come back to do because then you could do the table saw for the last one. But if you went to the joiner and you face jointed, so then you got that bottom flat, flipped it over, and then jointed again, now you've got one flat face and another flat edge. So now you've got a right angle, which you can then flip this down, which is your known flat edge, go to the planer. Now this is flat, so now you've got 1, 2, 3 sides, and then you flip it over to the table saw, run that flat edge against the fence, and then you get your fourth.
There you are.
Boom.
Just like that. It's like magic.
I'm tired just talking about that.
Exactly. Brian Farneth wants to know, do you use extension cords in your shop? I heard it can really impact the power to your tools. Never thought about that. You probably have, but I have not.
No, I know it does. There's different ratings. So I don't, I guess I never really I've never had an issue where I'm like, oh gosh, I'm not getting enough power because of the extension cord. So I don't know, but I do know that yes, you get power loss over a certain distance, and it's fully dependent upon the gauge of the wire. The smaller the gauge, the less length you can do. I typically, the longest extension cord I ever use is typically 25 feet for like a, which is probably 16 gauge or is that 18? I'm thinking nailers. I was talking gauges with the
That's right.
I sold a couple nailers today, and I was talking to people about nailer gauge. I think 14 gauge. So 14 gauge would be 15 amp wire, I believe. And so you can go, 25 feet with that and not have any issues from what I've ever had. But if you start going up in power and start going to 20 amp and start going to like a larger draw, so like at a 15 amp draw, I think that's fine. You can, I don't know if that works at 50, but you can, if you Google it, you can check that out actually, Brian. If you Google like extension cord length, amperage draw, something like that, it'll tell you exactly what those are, because it's actually like, it's literally like an equation, because there's a certain amount of loss for certain wire types, and it's different between stranded and solid wire and all that good stuff. So okay. you can figure that out. I've never had a personal issue with it, like something just not working because it was too long of an extension cord.
Good to know. Funny side story. As you were talking about that, I was looking at you, and out of the corner of my eye, I could see the picture of Norm Abram on the wall. And then you were saying, he did approve. No, but you were saying draw. And I was thinking, in my mind, I was seeing a drawer.
Draw, yes.
I was like, what? Wait a minute, no.
Draw. Gotta make some draws now.
Yes.
Pitton, worm drive circular saw or regular sidewinder. Ooh. Man, the worm drives are super heavy comparatively, and they're super beefy. So if you need a lot of power, if you're ripping a lot of 2x material, maybe you're doing framing, like you need a lot of power, then I would more go to the worm drive. If you're just doing a lot of plywood, 3/4 inch material, I would probably go sidewinder. So the worm drives definitely, what they have going for them is power.
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning. Worm drive and sidewinder.
Yeah. So
what are these things?
They're circular saws. So a worm drive, I'm not completely versed in this, but basically the worm drive refers to the gearing, to the transfer between the motor and the blade.
Is there a worm inside of it, just like running?
It's like a worm. It's like a worm gear meshing, and so it's like I don't even know how it works, honestly. And I don't want to say because I don't know. And the sidewinder is just like direct, so it's like a motor, and then.
So they don't just say like a direct circular saw. They say
sidewinder because of the motor. So like on a sidewinder, the motor is off to the side. Okay. On a worm drive, it's typically behind it.
It sounds super cool.
It is.
It sounds like it's super tough because it's a sidewinder. The worm drive, not so much.
Dave Waits, what's up, my man? MKNYW, opinion on the Delta 36725T table saw. Unfortunately, I am up speed on my Delta table saw numbers anymore. I did have a 36-something, and I used to know the model number. That was my first table saw ever, and it was fantastic. And that's about all I can say about that, because I literally have no idea. I have not. There was definitely a point in time where I think the quality of Delta went way down. I know they've been doing some things. I've seen like they just put out the new miter saw, the cruiser, and I don't know the quality of them. So I would go look on reviews and find out. I don't personally have, even if I did know exactly which one you were talking about, I still wouldn't be able to answer that unless it's my old one, which I don't think it was. But I used to own a ton of Delta tools. I used to have my dust collector, my miter saw, my table saw.
Mm-hmm. You did.
I didn't ever have a joiner, a Delta joiner, but they were all great. They're fantastic. So
there you go.
They've got good history. Let's see here. The Real Dank Cat. What's up, my man? Using the videos to build some shop furniture. Thanks for the hard work. Kiowa Garage Works. You are absolutely welcome. All right. What else do we have over here?
All right.
Oh, greetings from Mexico. Call me Mac.
Yeah. I accidentally called him Macy.
Oh, don't call him Macy.
I was typing in, hey, Mac, but, it's very, very close to our daughter's name, so I just slipped.
It is. Greetings. Salutations.
Greetings, yes.
¿Qué pasa, mi amigo?
We have some questions. RLL Woodworks.
Hold on, you missed market here. How much are larger Rockler bar clamps compared to Bessie, Jet, or Jorgensen? No idea. But I'm fairly certain those are all available on, either, Rockler wouldn't obviously be on Woodcraft, but Woodcraft, I know carries Bessie. Jet, I don't know. I know Woodcraft doesn't really carry Jet clamps anymore.
Really?
What I typically do is I go to Amazon, and that's where I do a lot of my price matching. But you have to be careful because there are a lot of resellers on there, and a lot of that stuff is overpriced. So what I would tell you is make sure you go to the actual woodworking stores. So go to Woodcraft. If it's a Rockler brand thing, go to Rockler, obviously, and check it out there.
Yeah.
Because sometimes Amazon is overpriced because it's a reseller.
Andrew says that the 48-inch clamps from Brockler go on sale for $25 to $30.
It's a good price.
Yeah.
It's a good price.
That's a good price.
RLL, working on a table saw cart for the DeWalt job site and have been using a ton of tips. That is fantastic, man. Was that the question you were reading? That's not really a question. That's more of a comment.
I was reading a comment. Just like that.
Fantastic.
I probably thought it was a question again.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a question that was getting
Patrick
asked.
wants to know, what was the project that got you addicted to making? Mine was my first coffee table.
Oh, Patrick, good question.
Going deep.
Yeah. So the first, by the way, if you're on Instagram, come on over to YouTube. It's fantastic. We are at Fix This Build That Live on YouTube, and we're live right now. The first project that got me hooked on making, that's hard to say because I think it was before I actually started woodworking.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I usually say, oh, it was my first, blah, blah, blah. But I think it was like when I made that, I need to like get this story down so I can actually tell it right. But when I made a loft bed when I was in college.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Exactly. I did too. So I designed and made a loft bed. This was like it would have been my sophomore year because I was an RA at the dorm. And I had built a loft bed to go, there was like this little nook where they had your bed, but I was like, I want to multi-purpose the space. And so
Efficiency.
Yeah. And so I put it in there, and then like the way I designed it is like there was like a built-in dresser in there. And so like I made short legs on one side and then full-size legs on the other, and then across the top. And it was just like all 2x4 and stuff. But I made it, and actually I didn't even, I'm trying to remember how it all worked.
Do you have like a desk underneath?
No, because I had a desk right across from it.
What did you put underneath it?
I have no idea. I didn't think I used. I had the mini fridge. I had a fridge under it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I had a mini fridge. I'm trying to remember how because I think I switched it because there was an actual bed built in. So I was an RA and I had my room to myself. But I had and then there was a bathroom in there, so it was community bathrooms in the dorm that I was in. But the RAs got their own bathrooms.
Nice.
Yeah. So the way that it was out is like if you were in a normal dorm room, it was like mirrored down the middle. And so it would be like a built-in bed, a desk near the window, and then like a closet or something, and then that's it. So on mine, I had the closet, the bed, the desk, and then on the other side, I had the bathroom, but then there was this nook that was about the size of a twin bed or something. And so I put it in there, and I think I didn't even use it. I still slept on that bed, and then I put the stereo up top. I put my stereo and speaker, I was in college. I put my Packard Bell at my desk, and it was awesome. And so that was like, ooh, like I can make this. Like,
Right.
I can build something cool and like customize this exactly how I want it. I think that was like really the first project I remember that I did that, other than like building stuff as a kid. I think that was the first one where I actually built something useful.
It was like something that you were actually going to do.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, honestly, and then you got into like home repair stuff out of necessity when you had the rental properties.
I did.
And I know that was kind of a similar, it wasn't woodworking, but it was.
Sorry, go ahead.
But it was like, when you've told me, and then I was there, like I saw it and remember, like you liked learning how to do things yourself.
Yes.
And
I more got hooked on
able-
making through home repair.
Yeah. In the beginning, yeah, for sure.
In the beginning,
In the beginning.
there was home repair.
That was the long answer, but there you go.
I thought that was a short answer. I think,
I think that was a medium answer.
Ronaldo, do I prefer DeWalt or Makita? I prefer DeWalt over Makita. What type of software do I use? Ooh, the dude builds. Go check out fixthisbuildthat.com/tools. I've got all my regular tools as well as all the software and hardware and photo and video equipment that I use. You can check all of that stuff out there. Butters and Builds says, any more secret compartment builds coming up? Yes.
Possibly, but it's
we
a secret.
we are in between right now deciding what we're going to do in the bathroom on the wall, whether it's going to be kind of like a recessed shelving or if it's going to be like a hidden shelving. But we're also looking at doing like a mirror, like a hidden concealed mirror project. So mirror there and then do some stuff to unlock it, and then you've got like a between the studs storage. So yes, definitely some more hidden compartment. The next two we have in mind though are more larger storage than like the
little
than like than the novelty type stuff. But yeah, I'm 100%, and we've got a lot of stuff going on right now, so it's going to be a while before I can get into probably one of those smaller projects and do more puzzle box features. But that'll be like beginning of the year. That'll probably be a fun. I'll probably plan one out over the holidays or something.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sounds fun.
Why not?
I like it. Call Me Mac says he's really trying to make a woodworking business and his saw is not keeping up with the work. What would you get? A cabinet saw or a sliding one? So we're at the top. A cabinet saw or a sliding one?
I'm not sure what that means.
I wonder, is that a miter saw?
Well, if you're talking about a sliding, like a European style table saw or a radial arm saw, those are the two kind of sliding or compound sliding miter saw. But I would for sure get a cabinet saw. If you don't have one already, cabinet saw is much more powerful, much more stable. It's going to keep alignment a lot better. So depending upon what you're using right now, I would highly recommend a cabinet saw. And most professional woodworking shops do have cabinet saws for a reason, and those are the reasons why. Let's see here. Oh yeah, sliding miter saw. That's what Jill was saying. We got all kinds of. Everybody's jumping in on the answers. I love it.
Yes.
Steve B, have you done a shop tour recently? We have not done a shop tour very recently, but we're actually just talking about that for potentially one at the end of the year.
Right.
And because I have a couple new pieces of equipment that are going to be coming in, that part of this whole reorganization is bundled up with that. So I've got a new 15-inch planer coming from Jet. That'll be my first floor standing planer, so I'm excited about that, as well as the helical head joiner. So I will be going to a helical head joiner and a helical head planer shortly, and I am stoked because those are amazing.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming soon. But as far as like moving,
well, he said he's thinking about moving back to Hermitage and debating a price to have a house with a large enough garage to have a shop. Good luck to you.
Absolutely.
Yes, Steve. It is nice having it right in the garage, but
we're lucky here. I mean, the weird part is, so we're kind of in the burbs, but the garages here are much more narrow than standard garages typically are.
Yeah.
I think a standard garage would be like 22 or 24 feet wide. These are 19. I
feel like everything's more narrow here. Like the yard sizes and like it's just all of that. Yeah.
So you don't think, so there's definitely like no, man door on the front of the garage. No, it's just like garage and then like literally 18 inches. So it's a 16-foot garage door and then 18 inches on each side of it to make the 19 feet. And it's horrible. Like an extra 3 feet in the shop in the width would do me so much good. I mean, there's so many things that I could do with that, and because we're super cramped here and the walkways are really tight. That being said, it's 31 feet deep.
Right, and I was going to say, when we were looking for our house, and that was 7 years ago, or actually, when we were looking, it was more like
almost 8,
7.5, 8 years ago, because it took how long? 5 months? Yeah. It took a long time. It took a long time for us. We were also very picky, and
we were looking for a 3-car garage
or a basement that was unfinished.
But
because we were coming from a house that had an unfinished basement with a shop in it. We've talked about this before. Like, it was a blessing for us that we wound up with a place that didn't have a basement, and the garage had to be the shop because that really made it more like front and center and caused you to like really spend a lot more time. And it was all good timing. Our kids were a little bit older, whatever. That's a long story. But it was hard, to find a big enough garage, and that was definitely a huge selling point on this house.
Yeah, it was, and there were a lot of really nice houses that we did not choose because of the garage situation, which we were like, everything is perfect except for the garage was like literally, there were some of them that I couldn't even park my truck in.
Oh yeah. I remember the one house that had like you pulled in the van or something.
Yeah, it was,
the really pretty house.
Yeah,
it was all decorated and everything.
Yeah,
they had like no storage and a tiny garage
and
with no clearance. Like, where do you put things?
So those are some of the things you got to watch out for.
It's hard.
Dave Waits, what epoxy do I recommend? Total Boat or Eco Epoxy? I have used both. Total Boat is an ongoing sponsor of mine, so full disclosure there. For like general epoxy, I'll say general epoxy usage, or like small, like filling cracks, any kind of like small inlay, basically any work under a 1/2 inch. I always use Total Boat, and I'll use their high performance 2-to-1, either with a slow or a fast hardener. If it's going to be I haven't done like a deep pour in a long time. I've only done one. I've done a couple, I guess. Well, when I say deep, let's say over an inch. I think I did an 1.5 inch pour. I've only done that one time. And it was on the epoxy river table, the waterfall river table, side table I did. And I used Eco Epoxy liquid plastic. I think that's the one. And whichever one, I think it's liquid plastic. I think they have a new one now. But I could use that one in one pour. I could do an 1.5 inches. Total Boat now has the deep pour, and I don't know. Well, I'll grab it. I got a bottle of it right here. I don't know why.
Go get it.
It's just like sitting here, although I've not.
It's like you're gonna pull this out.
Okay,
nope,
fix
he
it.
made it. He made it, folks.
I made it. All right, so we've got this is the Total Boat Thick Set. Like I said, I have not used this. So this is saying, let's see here, pours up to 1 inch thick in a single layer. So if you're going over 1.5 inches, it's not a great option for you unless you want to do multiple pours. If I can get it done in one pour, I will default to that. So that would be the choice in those. I know a lot of people do multiple pours with the Total Boat Thick Set, and it comes out great. Almost all of these, if you use them per the directions, I don't know that there's like a lot of bad epoxies out there. So it would be more of a, what do you feel more comfortable with from a cost perspective? I don't know, those are gonna be the two main things, right? Price, obviously, and then how thick can you pour and how quickly does it cure? So what typically, the less thick you can pour, the faster it's gonna cure. So you might think, oh, well, why, yeah, of course I would do the one that you can pour up to 2 inches and then it's just gonna go. But that might take 4 days to cure. Whereas if you do the thick set, and again, I'm just like throwing numbers out here, but if you do the thick set, maybe it's 2 days. Okay, and then that will cure. So, but then you have to do another layer. So you have to do a layer after like 12 hours or something. Like those are all the small things, Dave, that I would look at is make sure you understand exactly how the products work, what the directions are for usage and cure time and all that good stuff. Because, there's so many different epoxy brands out there now. But as far as just like general purpose, I highly recommend Total Boat High Performance. I use it all the time and it works great.
All right.
Paul Schreiber, what is the YouTube? What is the YouTube link? It's Fix This Build That live. Just you can type it in.
Yep. You can just type away.
Yep.
Patrick wants to know any tips on working together as a husband and wife team. Me and my wife are happily married, and I would like to keep it that way.
And don't do it.
No, and he said something earlier about that too. About they're trying to make this. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, I think I saw that fly by.
Yeah. What would you say? Other than don't do it.
Well, so let's like lay out kind of what we do, just so people know.
Sure.
Like this is our full-time job. Susan has been working, doing work for the business for a long time. She's now officially an employee.
I'm the employee of the month.
Employee of the month, every month. We get her a plaque and everything. But she does not put in nearly the time I do.
No.
Because she also...
I'm usually managing children.
Manages the children and
and just like stuff around
the house, right?
Yeah.
So she kind of does a lot of the...
Or like going and getting groceries and
daily,
all that stuff.
Right,
yeah.
the daily stuff to keep the house going.
Right.
Like dishes, laundry, all that good stuff. Kind of your typical homemaking
That's always kind of
stuff.
been... Well, that's always... Even when I wasn't full-time on this and the kids were younger, that was kind of what I did to free up time for you to be able to have time. Like when he was working a 9 to 5 and trying to build this up, the way I always saw myself helping and the way I tried to help was by like making it so that you could just work when you needed work.
Right.
And you weren't like.
So she does.
Yeah.
She
so
does
I
the
still
cooking.
kind of do that.
And I'm not a good cook, and she is. So that works.
Some days are better than others.
I typically do the outside. I cut the grass always. We
Yeah.
kind of share duties on. She loves to do a good mulching or grass clipping or hedge trimming.
I like planting flowers.
She likes planting flowers, so we kind of
We're going
split some of
deep
the garden work. I know, I'm just kind of, I don't know why I'm going.
Anyway, I do most of the house stuff,
does
and he
most
does
of the
a lot
house
of the exterior stuff.
Right, but
then
that
for
being
the
said,
business,
but I think that's part of it too.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a big time suck.
So like, but
and then I don't know if you guys have kids or not, but like the kids, I mean, I'm the one like usually running them to activities and like just handling all of that stuff, and that's
so
a lot.
And so I think like if you just kind of blindly went down and said, okay, well, I want to share, like make sure that everybody's pulling their weight. If you just looked at the business aspect of it, and you're like, well, how come you only did this and I'm doing this? Like that's not going to work, right? You got to look at both sides. And so then if we flip that and looked at the house stuff, she could be like, well, I'm doing all this and you're only doing this. And I'm like, well, yeah. And so then if you add them both together, and then it adds up to like the total effort for the house and towards the family, which is I think what we do. And that's probably like without getting into many details, the biggest thing is just being on the same page.
Right. Well, and I will say it was not super easy. I mean, it wasn't like when he went full time, I went back to teaching for a year. I planned on doing it longer, but for many reasons, and we talked about this before, that just wasn't a good fit for our family. And so I came back to do this, and that was great. But there was definitely an adjustment period there. There was a lot of like me being overwhelmed because I did not understand anything about like anything, like how to write a blog post, how to even deal with the interface, like what would happen if I clicked random buttons. And like I was really overwhelmed and freaked out and doubtful of my ability, honestly. And Brad, I will say, I mean, honestly, I think having a strong marriage is hugely important going into this, and having just knowing that at the end of the day, like I genuinely want him to succeed, and he genuinely wants me to succeed and feel happy about like what I did that day. And so like you were my biggest supporter, and like, I mean, he was so patient and like helped me out. Seriously, he really was. Because there would be days where I'd be like crying, like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I was an emotional mess. He'd be like, whoa, it's fine, And then like that has changed and things are much better. But
that has changed now. He just berates me whenever I don't do something right.
No, but honestly, I think I feel like almost one of the things that I do a lot is just like I'm a sounding board for you.
Yes.
And that's just kind of randomly during the day, in the evening, on the weekends, like just whenever, because Brad's mind never turns off from this. He is always like thinking about stuff, which is probably not always great, but like it's usually really good. Sometimes you need to turn off more, but you're working on that.
Yes.
But like he'll be like, "Ooh, what do you think about this idea?" Or we bounce ideas off of each other. But I think even if I weren't involved, even if I weren't like doing other like responsibilities for the business, just me being interested and invested and supporting him to like the point where like you're not bothering me. Like, I really want to know, and I really want to actually try to like give good feedback. And like sometimes sometimes I feel like I'm just sitting there and it could be a cardboard cutout of me, because Brad's like, what do you think about this? Well, but maybe we should do like it's like a whole internal conversation just coming out.
It'd be like the Major League Baseball crowds. Just cut out on season. But
it's still helpful. Wouldn't you say that that's helpful?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And that's just me personally. Like I need that. And I need to kind of talk through with people to just get my thoughts out. And also just, it's also good for, we both probably, we're not a great combo in the sense that we're both kind of procrastinators. And if given the choice, we would probably be, like watching Netflix instead of that.
Just watching The Walking Dead.
Which is so weird, because it was like when I started and when I was starting the business and working the side hustle, man, I worked my face off. Like I worked so hard.
You were.
And then I feel like I just
exhausting.
It is. I feel like I just did it all. And I was
but I remember
and
that.
Now I'm like, I can't do it anymore.
That was 2018 or no, 2017, no. whatever year it was. I remember there was like a year where I thought, We have not. Maybe we have sat and watched a movie together like twice all year because it was you were either at work or you were working.
Now we'd be watching Netflix
all the time, folks. But no, it's like, but I mean, but it's really good. I hope that helps.
So Israel Chen asked kind of a similar question about what prompted me to go full-time woodworking, and he's considering doing the same thing.
He hated his job.
Yeah, I hated my job. I do have actually we are working on a video where I'm going to share that. So we talked about, by the way, so we had talked about that coming out today. Again, we wanted to wait because I've got the gold play button is ordered, and I want that, like, I know it's like so.
Well, there were other reasons. No, there were other reasons too about like shooting it.
Anyway, I really want the thumbnail to be. So my idea of
it would be a great thumbnail.
My idea of the thumbnail is going to be me, like corporate Brad on the left in my like suit and like
looking
like literally my corporate picture. No, I look great. On the left, and then like
so modest.
And then like an arrow going, like that being like 2017. And then I didn't even think about that. Maybe I have like the date up there or something. And then the next one being like 2020, and then like me holding the gold play button and being like in the wood shop. So
yeah,
I had that idea in my mind, and now I just really want that to happen.
Well, yes, yeah. So he's going to go into that there.
The video is going to.
It's going to be like the origin story, like the making of Fix It. Honestly, it is like the making of Fix This, Build That.
It is
pretty much.
It is. The working title is I quit my job to make DIY videos at 40 with 3 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't want to click on that?
But like, I mean, honestly, and I know there are a lot of people that are interested in knowing how you did that because it is definitely not following the path that maybe you set out for yourself when you started your career. And it was risky, but you had a plan, like
always have a plan.
Brad is a planner. We didn't just do this randomly without things in place.
Yes. And if you want the early snapshot, the early snap, I was going to say the early sneak peek, you can go to episode 10 of Made for Profit.
Yes, and also a good place.
That was when I announced that I had gone full time.
Yep.
Matt makes things. Do you have any tips on how to make wood look weathered or reclaimed once painted? Honestly, dude, I don't. I tried to do it once and it looked like junk. Let's see here. We got Kenneth. Thank you, my man. What is the name of the best carpentry shop? Mohammed or Mo. I don't know what the best carpentry shop.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
He was saying in my town, what's the name of the best carpentry shop?
Oh.
I really don't know.
I know there's a lot of really great carpenters around here, though. I don't know which one, because I have one right here. I don't ever need to call one.
Let's hear. Asna Faroukwai is asking, can I stain framing lumber for a coffee table? Yeah, absolutely. You can. And but if it's pine, I don't know if you're using pine. If you're using pine or something like that, it can get really blotchy. I would use
you test it ahead of time.
Yep.
Yeah, and see like if you like the way it looks.
Che Garcia, have you seen a video where the guy makes floating shelves only with pocket holes? I have not. I don't know if that's like a joke or I have not, but I'm sure it's a great one. Congrats on 1 million. Thank you, 532.
Thank you.
What's up, Barrio? DMD Wood Designs.
Is your wife your biggest critic?
No, she's not at all.
We are not. We are not like that toward each other.
No.
Really about anything.
Well, that's not true.
But you're not like when I hear is your wife.
It's going this way. That's not me saying that about her. So here's a perfect
no. But
example.
when I hear is your wife your biggest critic, to me that means like is she always like pointing out the negatives? Right. And I don't think that we ever try to like point out the negatives.
Mine is
but
more,
we will be honest with each other.
Mine is more like I'm particular. I'm particular about stuff and.
Yes.
And like so, today's was.
Oh gosh, today's like there's one every day.
Well, it's just because it just happened, so it's fresh in my mind. Today's was I came out.
Oh yeah.
And Susan was painting.
I was painting.
Which she loves to paint too.
I do.
And not like portraits, like painting rooms.
Like painting rooms to make them look.
And
pretty.
I came out and there was a paint can sitting on my bench on my cabinet over here, like nice wood top.
Right, it's a
There's
beautiful
a paint
one.
can sitting that has the drip thing on the front, and it's like open, like not closed. So it's not like a closed paint can. This is an open paint can with the thing on there, and it's just chilling out right on top of the thing. And I was like, I very politely said, Susan.
He did. It was very polite.
I said, please, don't ever leave this.
I could tell. I was like, oh, whoops. Because I put it there and I thought to myself,
I shouldn't be doing
I think I'm
this.
supposed to leave this here,
No.
but it's been a while since I've painted, and I was thinking like I don't want to leave it on the ground because like somebody could accidentally like run into it and then knock the whole thing over, and I don't want to leave it in the dining room where I'm painting because what if it falls over in there? This seemed like a safe place, but now I remember the previous conversations we've had about don't do that. So
So anyway, that's I'm like.
No, but we'll definitely.
I don't want to have to clean paint off that, but that's typically what it is.
We will speak truth to each other.
We will, but it's typically me like being anal about something
you
that
have
I don't
ways
want
you
to get
like
messed
things.
up. I do.
I'm a little bit more like I don't really care on most things.
I'm
probably a
over the
good
top on the other way
combination.
at times. A lot of times I don't
Every
care.
once in a while, I have
what
something,
it is. If it's
and
my
I'm like,
woodworking stuff, I'm
"Can
like,
you please put I have a moment of like, oh man, I have something I can say like,
that she gets me.
please put the cups just like this or whatever," and he's like, "Okay, I'll do it." It's been a while though.
I swear you've been short sheeting us though.
What?
Are you short sheeting us?
No. You have such a conspiracy theory going on about that.
I know.
I don't know why you're complaining about this.
I don't know
I'm
why
the
that
one
just
that
hit
wakes up
me.
without one.
Well, that's side to side. So it's like whenever I've been in the bed, and I'm like going to like.
They're not interested in hearing this.
I think they are. We go sheet, we go like fitted sheet, and then like regular sheet.
Like we have a top sheet. We are not the millennial people who do not have top sheets. Like
top sheets
must
canceled.
have a top sheet. Canceled.
And then we have a blanket. And then we have like 2 blankets, and we kind of layer them.
There's like a really cozy one, and then
But like I'm getting in bed, and I'm like pulling up the sheet, and it like stops like at my chest, and I'm like,
I mean,
what's
the
going
problem
on?
is the sheet gets tucked in the way it's supposed to be.
I just can't
the
see
blanket,
how does the sheet go on. Like how does the bed eat the sheet?
The blanket like comes out more every time. It comes out more. It's
I would be okay if the sheet was up to here and the blanket was up to here.
But when I've had
if
the sheet
sheet's up
too
to
long,
here-
it's in the way.
So you are short sheeting us. All right.
You know what? There's a
to
perfect solution to this problem. You can make the bed.
Listen, we also have a. It's not unwritten. I mean, it is unwritten, but it's verbal.
What?
The last one out of bed makes the bed.
Oh no, it's totally verbal. Like if
And
you're
so-
the one that lazy bones that sleeps in, you have to make the bed because we make the bed every day. However, when Brad makes the bed, it's more like covers are thrown up there, pillows are kind of
No.
they're not done with precision.
Not the pillows.
What?
I mean, I don't like fluff them and.
I make it look pretty, and Brad's like, they're up there. I mean, like they're close.
I think
that could be my thing that I get you.
I think we have gone too far.
People are like, we really are not interested in this anymore, but that's all right. Top sheet life. Yes.
All right. So now that you guys know all about our
don't need to
bedding
know all
situation,
this. We've even gone over.
I think that's
just to talk about sheets.
I think. Are you short sheeting me? I think that's.
Are you short sheeting me?
I think that's.
You just wanted a funny little title for this.
Sometimes I gotta force it.
Yes.
I don't think anybody cares. Nobody looks at it. It's all good.
Whatever.
All right. Well, that's it, guys. We're gonna wrap up.
week.
Our kids are off of.
fall
Well, what do we
break.
have? We have teacher in service tomorrow or something
Yeah, so
like
the
that.
kids don't have school tomorrow, but the teachers do.
Yeah.
Sorry, teachers.
So it's going to be a little slow because we have the kids around tomorrow. But anyway, we'll be working on the videos. The next video that's going to come out is going to be the vinyl plank flooring in the bathroom.
It's so pretty.
Which is large format tile. We are done with it. The video, like I said, there was like just a few changes that I had to submit, but they're not going to be able to approve until after the weekend. So we'll be doing that. Apparently, I can't make claims that they are the #1 in the world of... Even though it says it on their website. And when they said you have to have a source. And I was like, okay, fine.
Your website is the source.
I know. Well, yeah, if I had been like as seen on there, that'd been fun.
Oh.
As seen on their website.
We didn't know about all the,
More details.
read between
So
the
that'll
lines.
be coming out, and then we'll be going back to the miter saw cabinet.
Yep.
So we're going to be bouncing back and forth, like I've been mentioning, between the bathroom project and the miter saw station.
Right.
So,
We've got things going on.
But have a great week this week, and we will catch you guys next Saturday. And for all the Builders Club members, we will catch you guys during the week with some updates. And hit me up with DMs on Instagram or wherever if you guys have any questions throughout the week. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Boom.
All right.
Great
I'll say goodbye to the people.
Great thing.